In a small town tucked away in the countryside, a young boy named Ethan lived a quiet life. He was an average student, never the most popular or the smartest, but he had a kind heart. Ethan's days were filled with books, dreams, and thoughts of his future. He had always believed that he could achieve great things, even if the world around him didn't see it. However, life was not always kind to Ethan. He was often bullied by his classmates for his quiet nature and slender frame. They would mock him, push him around, and laugh at his dreams. The leader of the bullies was a boy named Jordan, who was everything Ethan was not: tall, athletic, and popular. Jordan took every opportunity to make Ethan's life miserable, and the more Ethan tried to avoid him, the more relentless Jordan became. But what hurt Ethan the most wasn't the bullying. It was the rejection he faced from the girl he loved. Lily was the most beautiful girl in school, with bright eyes and a smile that could light up a room. Ethan had admired her from afar for years, but he never had the courage to speak to her until one day, he finally mustered the strength to tell her how he felt. It was the most terrifying moment of his young life, standing there with his heart in his throat, waiting for her response. But instead of the kind words he had hoped for, Lily looked at him with a mix of confusion and pity. "Ethan," she said gently, "you're sweet, but you're just not the kind of guy I'm looking for. You're just not like Jordan, you know?" Those words cut deeper than any insult. Ethan's heart shattered, and the last bit of self-confidence he had was crushed. Lily turned and walked away, leaving him standing there, alone and humiliated. Jordan and his friends, who had witnessed the whole thing, burst into laughter, making Ethan's rejection even more painful. That night, Ethan cried himself to sleep, feeling like the world was against him. He wanted to disappear, to never face another day of ridicule and pain. But as he lay there in the darkness, something changed inside him. The pain, the rejection, the bullying, it all began to fuel a fire deep within him. He realized that he couldn't let their words define him. He couldn't let Lily's rejection be the end of his story. Ethan made a promise to himself that night. He would prove them all wrong. He would become someone they could never laugh at again. He would work harder, push himself further, and rise above the pain they had inflicted on him. The next day at school, Ethan walked with his head held a little higher. He still faced the same taunts and jeers, but now, he let them slide off him like water off a duck's back. He buried himself in his studies, spending hours in the library learning everything he could about business and finance. He researched the world's most successful people and studied their paths to success. As the years went by, Ethan's dedication paid off. He graduated at the top of his class and earned a scholarship to a prestigious university. There, he continued to excel, gaining a reputation as one of the brightest minds in the business school. He interned at various companies, learning the ropes of the corporate world, and his professors began to take notice of his extraordinary potential. While Ethan was making strides in his education and career, his personal life remained solitary. He kept to himself, still haunted by the memories of his school days and the rejection that had once broken him. He focused solely on his goals, determined to build something that would make all the pain worthwhile. After graduating with honors, Ethan secured a position at a small but ambitious oil company. It was a stepping stone, but Ethan saw it as the beginning of something much bigger. He worked tirelessly, often staying late into the night to come up with new strategies and ideas that would help the company grow. His efforts did not go unnoticed. Within a few years, Ethan rose through the ranks, becoming the youngest executive in the company's history. But he wasn't satisfied with just climbing the corporate ladder. He wanted to own it. Ethan began to save and invest his earnings, taking calculated risks that soon paid off. He started buying shares in the company, and when the opportunity arose, he made his move. With a combination of his own wealth, strategic partnerships, and sheer determination, Ethan successfully acquired the company. It was the beginning of his empire. Ethan renamed the company Horizon Oil, and under his leadership, it grew into one of the largest oil corporations in the world. He expanded its operations globally, negotiated deals with governments and other corporations, and turned Horizon Oil into a powerhouse in the industry. The boy who had once been ridiculed and rejected was now a billionaire, respected and admired by many. Years passed, and Ethan's success continued to grow. He became a prominent figure in the business world, known for his sharp mind and relentless drive. Yet, despite all his achievements, he remained a private man, keeping his past hidden from the public eye. One day, as Ethan was reviewing applications for a new executive assistant, a familiar name caught his eye. Lily. The girl who had rejected him all those years ago was now applying for a job at his company. Curious, Ethan asked his HR department to schedule an interview with her, but he didn't reveal his identity. When the day of the interview arrived, Lily walked into the grand office of Horizon Oil, nervous but hopeful. She had fallen on hard times and needed this job to get back on her feet. As she sat in the plush chair across from the imposing desk, she couldn't help but admire the luxurious surroundings. The door opened, and Ethan walked in, dressed in a tailored suit, exuding confidence and authority. Lily's breath caught in her throat as she recognized him. The boy she had once rejected, the one she had never given a second thought, was now the CEO of one of the largest companies in the world. "Ethan?" she stammered, her face turning pale. "Hello, Lily?" Ethan said calmly, taking a seat behind his desk. "It's been a long time." Lily's mind raced as she tried to process the situation. She had never imagined that the boy she had dismissed so easily would become someone so powerful and successful. Regret washed over her as she remembered how she had hurt him. And now, she was sitting in front of him, asking for a job. "I'm sorry, Ethan," Lily blurted out, tears welling up in her eyes. "I never should have treated you the way I did. I was so wrong." Ethan looked at her for a moment, his expression unreadable. The memories of the pain she had caused him were still there, but so was the fire that had driven him to succeed. He had become who he was because of that pain, and he had no intention of going back to the boy who had once been broken by rejection. "I appreciate your apology, Lily," Ethan said finally, "but this isn't about the past. This is about the future. The job you're applying for requires someone who is strong, resilient, and committed. Are you that person?" Lily nodded, her voice trembling. "Yes, I am. I've learned a lot since then, Ethan. I've made mistakes, but I've also grown. I want to prove myself." Ethan studied her for a moment, then nodded. "Very well. You're hired. But remember, this is a professional environment. The past is behind us, and the only thing that matters now is how you perform in your role." Lily thanked him profusely, her heart heavy with the weight of her regrets. As she left his office, she couldn't help but feel the sting of what she had lost. She had let go of someone who had become everything she could have ever wanted, and now she would have to live with that knowledge every day. Ethan watched her go, a sense of closure washing over him. He had risen above the pain, the rejection, and the bullying. He had proven to the world and to himself that he could achieve greatness. And in doing so, he had found a strength that no one could take away from him. In the end, Ethan's success was not just about wealth or power. It was about overcoming the darkness that had once consumed him and emerging into the light as a man who knew his worth. He had built an empire from the ashes of his past, and nothing could ever tear it down. As for Lily, she would forever regret the day she had let go of someone so extraordinary. But Ethan had moved on, and his future was brighter than he had ever imagined. Moral of the story. The story of Ethan teaches us that no matter how much pain or rejection we face, we have the power within us to rise above it. Success is not just about proving others wrong. It's about proving to yourself that you are capable of achieving your dreams, no matter the obstacles. And sometimes, the best revenge is living a life so successful that those who doubted you can only watch in awe.